we are in a team sport when it comes to life, and the more people we can involve in our success, the better. So I put together a book advisory board. I invited 6 leaders, some who knew me well and some who did not know me at all, to meet once a month, and I would send them a chapter and they would read it, and then we would get on a conference call and they'd give me feedback. And here's what happened, Dom, on that very first call.
Welcome to the Going North podcast, the podcast where you will be inspired to join the business of immortality known as authorship. I'm your host, certified self-leadership trainer, member of the Maxwell Leadership Team, and best-selling author of the book, Stay the Course, Dominic Dom Brightman. And you're going to be getting some tips and techniques to advance yourself coming up next. Today's episode is sponsored by book number 2 from Dominic Dom Brightman, Stay the Course, The Elite Performer's 7 Secret Keys to Sustainable Success. It is the field guide to help unleash the elite performer that is inside of you. Cop it today on Amazon.com or heading over to dombrightman.com and snag it in book, ebook, and audiobook, so that way you can take it on the go and get yourself on the go to your northbound success. And today on the Highlight Reel Builder for Authors, known as GMP, the Great, Glorious, and Glamorous, is the Going North podcast, the courtesy of Podmatch.com. We got another super special, awesome human for you today because my goodness, she's a sought after, you heard that right, folks, a sought after, sought out executive coach and leadership expert that helps leaders achieve outstanding results through the power of their professional relationships. And she's the award-winning, you heard that right, folks, all the blue ribbons, y'all, award-winning author of 3 books and counting, and is recognized by Thinkers 360 and People Hum as an HR thought leader to watch. So let's give it up for Miss MB herself, the magical and beautiful Morag Barrett. How you doing today, Morag?
I'm doing good, Dom, though I listened to that introduction. I feel exhausted already. Maybe I should go for a lie down.
Because she works extremely hard, y'all.
Don't we all? But I'm looking forward to our conversation today.
Oh yeah, that's right indeed. Is your middle initial E by any chance?
No. Would you like it to be? What would the E stand for then?
Enchanting.
Enchanting. Oh no. So it's a J. And now I can't think of any words that start with J that you could use as an adjective. So jaunty. There you go. That's the only one that's just come to mind.
We can go for joyful too, because you bring joy to people.
Joyful, that's a good one. See, yeah, nailed it. I'll take joyful anytime, Dom.
Heck yeah, that's right. We can go with jazzy too, because I hear ballroom dancing is one of your favorite things on earth.
Yes, it was, at least up until the pandemic, because of course that put paid to getting up close to people, within 6 foot. It's hard to dance. So I have a whole closet full of dresses with sequins and stuff that at some point they will get out to see the light of day again.
Woohoo! Sweet. That means it'll be one of the most exciting days on freaking earth. My goodness,
Maybe as I rediscover whether I've got 2 left feet or the 6 left feet when I was first learning. So I don't know. What about you? Do you trip the light fantastic, Dom? Are you a dancer?
I wouldn't say. I got 2 normal feet. They're educated feet, but they're not 2 left feet though. Or 6.
Okay.
So my goodness, it's not just about the balls in the room. It's all about the mighty Morag, and I'm pretty sure you probably didn't see yourself on top of the magical planet giving all these executives that wonderful juice in their careers. So my goodness. So at the age of 12, did you see yourself where you are today with all the help that you're giving around the world?
No, at 12, I wanted to be a long-distance truck driver because I thought I'd get to see the world. So how about that? So I did not end up being a long-distance truck driver, nor did I end up being a rally car driver, which was another aspiration of mine, though I did spend a day with a rally driving school. So no, at 12, I did not imagine I would be living in America. I did not imagine that I would be working with leaders from 20 countries and on 6 continents. But heck, it's been one hell of a ride and great fun along the way.
Sweet. That's what I'm talking about. One heck of a ride indeed. That's right, because I believe this ain't your original place of origin because you're out in Colorado at the moment, right?
That's right. The accent probably gives it away. I tell people I come from a little town just east of Texas, but originally grew up in England and I moved here about 16, 17 years ago. But I love Colorado, so I stayed.
Ah, there we go. That's right indeed. So at 12, she wanted to be a truck driver. 14, she moved to the U.S. of A. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about indeed. That's what I'm talking about indeed. My goodness, so sweet 16. So how was the transition to basically becoming an author? Was that something on your new list of goals after discovering the truck driver thing wasn't going to be in your wheelhouse?
Yeah, that was interesting. I mean, my first book, Cultivate the Power of Winning Relationships, that came out because I was doing speeches at conferences and running workshops and programs, and people kept coming up and saying, "So where can I read more? I want to know more about how to cultivate my professional network." So of course my reaction was, "Okay, I'll write the book." And it took 2 years to write the book from first starting to actually getting it onto the bookcase shelves. And it was an interesting process because you have to be very focused in your message. You have deadlines to meet and so forth. So it was an interesting learning experience. And before it even hit the shelves, people were saying, "Well, when's the next one coming out?" And so that was the Future Proof Workplace that hit the shelves 6 years ago. And then my new book, You, Me, We, which I wrote with my team, comes out in October of 2022. So I'm still learning because even the third book, co-authoring with others, again, a whole different learning experience. But again, I go back to 12, I didn't even picture it, but it's exciting to see them out there.
Woohoo! Congratulations. That's what I'm talking about indeed. It's like, giving those wonderful keynotes. They're like, yay, we got all these keys on the ring. We could drive all the cars now. Wait, no, we can't. We need this on paper. And it's like, oh, okay, fine. I'll give it to you on paper. And she's doing it, y'all. She's doing it indeed via book form, y'all. That's right, indeed. That's right, indeed. So my goodness, so what was probably the most challenging part of really putting your book together? Because I'm sure with a lot of folks who write, there's a lot of setbacks that appear along the way.
Well, I told you it took 2 years. 6 months into that journey, when I'd only written 3 or 4 chapters, Dom, I realized that going it alone was not the answer. And that's the whole premise of both Cultivate and You, Me, We, is that we are in a team sport when it comes to life. And the more people we can involve in our success, the better. So I put together a book advisory board. I invited 6 leaders, some who knew me well and some who did not know me at all, to meet once a month. And I would send them a chapter and they would read it. And then we would get on a conference call and they'd give me feedback. And here's what happened, Dom. On that very first call, we got on the call and I said, "So, okay, so what did you think?" And there was this long pause. And then one of the leaders said, "Well, was it just me or was it really boring?"
Ouch.
Ouch. Ouch indeed. But here's the thing. I remember I put my head on the table, but I laughed because that was exactly the feedback I needed. And it also role modeled the whole core concept of the book, how to be an ally, how to speak the truth that others need to hear. And I needed to hear that my manuscript was boring because it turns out I write in a very academic way. I don't even write in contractions. I say I am versus I'm. So what I learned, going back to your question, was having others involved in the process makes it richer. But also for me, I need to get the thoughts down and then I need to go back and weaving in the stories, the anecdotes, add in the contractions so it reduces the word count. So there you go, Dom.
Hey, well, that's a wonderful process right there, and it's good that you're able to get those six-pack abs metaphorically with those 6 different leaders to help you out with the process, and heck, even help you turn it from coal to a diamond.
Indeed. See, I like that metaphor, from coal to a diamond.
Oh yeah, that's right indeed. And it sounds like you got a wonderful creative mind on your shoulders too, because it looks like, if I'm not mistaken, well, there's 2 magical things. One, that also one line you mentioned how life is a team sport, and then I believe the role model method. I believe the 4 magical, colorful corners that I'm seeing on the Zoom background.
Yeah, that'll be that one. Yeah, so the relationship ecosystem. where I provided a language and framework for identifying your critical stakeholders at work. So who am I dependent on for my success? But then how would I describe the health of that relationship from ally through to supporter to rivals and adversaries? But more importantly, once I've learned that, what do I do to nurture those relationships closer and more consistently into being allies, people that I know I can rely on, and vice versa, not just on the good days when it's easy, but particularly when the proverbial hits the fan and projects aren't going to plan, or maybe there's a pandemic and we all have to rush home and work at a distance. Who are the people that you can call in an emergency and you know that are going to be there? And from my research for You, Me, We, I've discovered that 20% of leaders that have completed the ally mindset profile, which is the pinwheel next to the other book, say that they don't have one friend at work. They have 0 people that they can depend on in emergency. And 67% of the leaders who completed that profile, Dom, have said that their success has been undermined by the words or actions of a colleague. So for people listening here today, maybe they've been on the receiving end of, the knife in the proverbial knife in the back, or the barbed comment, or felt like they're being set up to fail. And in both these books, I explore what are you going to do versus allowing the predictable surprise occur? How do you take back your power and control? How do you show up as a friend to others without becoming a doormat or being taken advantage of by others?
Ooh, sounds like fire indeed. Sounds like good fire indeed. That's what I'm talking about. And that 20% that you mentioned was pretty interesting because, like a lot of folks, especially occasionally on memes on social media, like, hey, when it comes to work, you just go to work. Don't make any friends with nobody. But it's like, at the same time, you do need to build those relationships.
Well, think about it. Isn't that sad, though? The idea that I'm just going to come in and do my job and leave? That's so lonely. And since we spend most of our waking days in some sort of work, it doesn't matter what industry you're in or what level you're at. If you can have a bit of fun with your colleagues and if you can learn and grow, it sets you up for success, whether it's for a promotion or a new role within your existing company, or it means that your network is intact so that you can reach out and apply for and be more likely to be successful applying for a new role somewhere else. It's all about the team sport, and the sooner we recognize it, I think that's one of the mistakes I made early in my career, was being too independent, focused on me and my own efforts versus on the interdependence and how can I help others to be successful and then by result be successful myself.
Boom. More solid gold indeed, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Hashtag marvelous. Morag indeed. So my goodness, and you mentioned a solid mistake I feel like a lot of folks make in the beginning of their careers. They focus all on the independent side of the game. So what helps you to shift your mindset from just being the independent, getting things done on your own, to more interdependence that probably helps you to advance a lot quicker and flourish a lot more, even now probably as a full-time entrepreneur?
Yeah, it's courage and vulnerability, which is one of the elements of the ally mindset in the new book. So it is courage and vulnerability to let go. Because what I've realized is, okay, there's the Morag way of doing things, which is pretty good, to be honest. However, it isn't the only way. And so as I've grown my team, learning to delegate, learning to let go, let them reach their full potential by empowering them to make decisions, that has meant that we can all get better together, which is the whole premise of You, Me, We. And that I think is exciting because now between us, we can be brainstorming a new idea. And the next thing I know, it's been created. And I haven't had to do it all myself. And just because we can do things doesn't mean that we should.
Yeah, I can say that again because it's so true. It's like, I feel like all these people ain't getting it done right. It's like, probably need to work better on delegation skills, I guess, for folks with that mindset.
We all need to, because sometimes it's just quicker and easier to do it myself. And you might have the same, but ultimately, just because it's quicker and easier still doesn't mean it's the right thing that you should be doing. Maybe somebody else should be helping, with editing the podcast, getting the word out, the social media. so that you don't have to do everything and you can do the cool things, the things that really make a difference, like the interviews, the identifying of your guests, and so forth.
Oh yeah, I can say that again. Yes, indeed. Because the editing team for the show at one point, like a week was freed up from me, and I'm like, oh god, wait, I have to rush back home to actually edit this thing. Like, oh my goodness, this is freaking amazing. I can actually focus on other stuff. This is freaking amazing. Like, it's so darn true. It's like a team is definitely required. Like, life is definitely a team sport indeed. And it sounds like you've been helping folks to get closer to that mindset. They don't have to carry all these giant ball and chains, metaphorically. Oh, man. So my goodness, so you got this wonderful book, You, Me, We, coming out, and it seems like the pinwheel's expanded, if I'm not mistaken. So what's the inspiration behind this book? Is it going deeper into what wasn't touched on in Cultivate?
Yes, and you've nailed it. So we wrote Cultivate, and everybody's like, oh my goodness, this has made such a difference to my team or to the organization. But we consistently kept getting asked, but how do I show up as an ally? What does that mean? And so that was the genesis for You, Me, We. And certainly in the corporate world where my clients are, Gallup have been researching engaged workforces for more than 20 years. And they've been asking of their 12 questions. Question number 10 of their 12 questions is, do I have a best friend at work? And it gets the most pushback from leaders because they're like the hypothetical you shared earlier. This is a place of work. We haven't got time for friendships. Leave your emotions at the door. Do we need to have this question? And Gallup have shown that if you can answer yes, do I have a best friend at work, then you are more likely to have an engaged workforce. You're more likely to get the business results that you need. However, we're challenging that question. The challenge that I see with that question of do I have a best friend at work is it's passive. It allows me to say no, and it's Dom's fault because he interrupted me in the last meeting. He got the project I wanted to lead. It's all over there, the mysterious they. They don't understand me. They won't let me. So in You, Me, we've turned that question around and we're asking, am I a friend at work? And how do I show up as a best friend for others, but within guardrails? So I don't just become a yes person. I don't become a doormat for everybody else's crappy projects. But how do I show up with abundance and generosity, connection and compassion, courage and vulnerability, candor and debate, and then the final one is action and accountability on that pinwheel. And in the research that we've done with more than 500 leaders, the workshops we've run around the world, these were the 5 practices that came out as being core to how do we show up and answer yes to, am I a friend at work? And in order to have a friend at work, one needs to be a friend at work.
Oh yeah, I can definitely see that again. Indeed, that's right. Indeed, that's right. Indeed, and just check out the alliteration in the wonderful pinwheel as well. She's got the colors and the alliteration. That's what I'm talking about. Indeed, she's a wordsmith, y'all. That's right. Indeed. That's right, indeed. And the candor is definitely important too, and even making sure that you're not a yes person or a doormat for picking up everybody else's slack. So, what do you think may be the major cause that might help, or should I say, what might better help those to not be a doormat in the workplace while trying to be an ally in the workplace?
So defining it for yourself. And in fact, if your listeners want to take the Ally Mindset profile, they're welcome to do so with my compliments. And the shortcut URL to find that is SkyTeam, SKYE, team.cloud, like cloud in the sky. So skyteam.cloud/going north, for the name of your podcast. But even though I've written the book and written 3 books, I'm not perfect at this. And in fact, courage and vulnerability is one of my weakest spots. I'm courageous when it comes to running the business and making decisions, but I am lacking courage when it comes to tough conversations and feedback for others. And so just knowing that and preparing and planning is part of it. So when you say, well, how does one show up as an ally and not become a doormat and a yes person to others? It starts with setting what is your definition of success? What does that look like in terms of the work you want to do, the work you don't want to do, the hours you want to put in? and then having those as guardrails that you can communicate to your colleagues, but then be curious about their needs and where's the intersect, hence the Venn diagram on the cover. Because it's not just about me getting what I need and you getting what you need. It's looking at the intersection and what do we need to give and take in order to be successful together.
Yeah, that's right indeed. The mighty Morag is dropping that heat indeed, and she's vulnerable indeed. She's right. It's hey, I may not be an expert at one thing, but hey, it's still some good information for you. It's a good information for you indeed. Because that can be a big thing for some people. Some folks may be like, hey, I don't give a crap about this company. I'll just leave. Kind of like the whole Gen Z thing. And there's some where it's just grin and bear it, like some of the older millennials or folks who may have had some of the baby boomer mindsets, maybe some Gen X goodness inside of them. And it can be a bit of an uphill battle. But just finding that nice middle ground is definitely good indeed. So my goodness, so since you've been on a boatload of these wonderful podcasts, is there a question that you wish you'd be asked more often when you're on the guest side of the game?
A question I wish I'd been asked more often. You know what it builds on what you asked earlier on, Dom, around what does it take to be an ally? And I'll ask people to think about the best boss or best colleague they've ever had. So I'm going to do it for you, and the people listening, they can follow along and do it as well. So Dom, thinking about your career to date, who was one of the best leaders or colleagues that you would jump at the chance to work with again? First off, who's coming to mind for you right now?
Funny enough, I guess got a boss named Miss Shirley. She's freaking amazing because the thing is, she gives out like stuff for us to do, but the thing is, it's stuff that she would do herself. Like that's the thing. Like she definitely exemplifies leadership in that regard, because if it's something she's gonna ask you to do, it's something that she too would do herself. So definitely her. She comes to mind.
And what was her name again? Miss?
Oh, her name was Shirley.
Shirley. Okay, so she let you get delegated work that she would do herself. What else made her special?
Oh yeah, personal growth, definitely. She's actually a model for personal growth. Like, for the thing was, because she actually came in as a volunteer supervisor, funny enough, in the library world, and she moved up the ranks really quickly into management, and that really wasn't something in her wheelhouse, but she basically rose up to the occasion, got the books, got around the right people, and built those relationships, those allies, if you will. So probably symbiotically was reading that book, Cultivate.
Maybe she was. Maybe she was. Well, here's the thing. For everybody listening, I dare you, I double dog dare you to tell the Shirleys in your life that, hey, I was listening to this podcast, the guest, Morag, was asking about best leader or best colleague, and you came to mind. So Shirley, you came to mind, and here's why. And I guarantee you're going to get messages back saying, oh no, you've made my day. And you have strengthened or rekindled a relationship that you may be part of right now, or you may not have spoken to these people for years. So send them a text, send them an email, send them a LinkedIn message, send them a message to the universe. So that's part one. But this goes back to the earlier question of around how do you show up as an ally without becoming a doormat? It's the same as becoming a good leader. There are millions of results. If you Google the word leadership, you'll get billions actually of results, of which I've contributed to some of them, so I'm sorry. And it really doesn't matter what's written on the interwebs. What I tell leaders is, how do you as an individual define it? And thinking about your best bosses and best colleagues, you've already seen some of what makes people memorable, and it isn't how smart they are. You didn't talk about her technical knowledge. What you talked about was how she invested in you and herself in that growth mindset, how she gave you projects that challenged you. And that's the standard. Define it for yourself. And then at the end of every day, just ask, did I do my best? Did I do my best to live up to that? And if somebody else was asked by Morag, who's your best boss or colleague, would your name come up? And if the answer is no, or you don't know, then you need to be turning the dial up on the special something that you already bring to the role you're in. And if the role you're in isn't letting you do it, maybe it's time to go and find somewhere where you can thrive and be the best version of you, because life's too short to be somewhere where you're just going, another day at work.
Oh, yeah, that's right indeed. That's right indeed. She's bringing the heat, y'all. That's right, the heat and the sparkles. That's what I'm talking about indeed. That's right. Ask yourself, yeah, who's that awesome boss, awesome colleague? It's like, oh, shoot. Like, oh, they're freaking awesome. Hey, someone said my name. Hey, my name might be Shirley, too. Like, yay. Alrighty. That's
Go
right,
Shirley!
That's right, indeed. All the clones, y'all. That's right, all the clones without the official cloning, y'all. That's right, do it. Yes, my goodness. So, fun question, loving to pop on guess. So, if your wonderful book, You, Me, We, was a food, what would it be and why?
I think it would be a fondue or something like that, family style, because the whole premise is that we are better together. Now, notwithstanding the pandemic, but the idea is that we're sharing some food that we can share. That's going to be it. So fondue, tear and share bread.
Ah, there we go. Tear and share bread, y'all. That's right indeed. So it means some bakers are involved in this book, y'all. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. And that means y'all need to buy a baker's dozen of this book, y'all.
Oh, that would be nice. Yeah, make my day. Buy 12, give them away. Love it. Be an ally, give one to your ally. There you go. There's a plug there, Dom.
There you go. That's right. Be an ally, give it to your ally indeed. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. Almost kind of surprised you didn't say flan almost. It's like, yay, it's tasty.
Oh, well, the flan would work too. I do love a bit of flan.
That's right indeed. That's right indeed. Heck, well, we usually go with some usual canned question. But hey, since you're fun, I gotta ask you this one too. So since you have this wonderful career and all these wonderful books out in the world helping out these wonderful people, I'm pretty sure you've had some setbacks on the way to where you are today. So has there been any big major setback that actually became a wonderful win for you down the road?
Oh, well, I actually share one in You, Me, We. One that I have not spoken about in 16 years. So maybe I should just leave it at that and say you'll have to read the book to find it. It's in the Courage and Vulnerability chapter. But it was a setback that took me to my knees, and I've carried it with me because there was shame on my part in terms of just telling people the truth. And if it hadn't happened, then I wouldn't be here where I am today, and SkyTeam would not be the successful leadership development firm that it is. I wouldn't be working with the leaders and teams I am. So it was a crippling moment for me, and it's one that has taken me this many years to have the courage to at least put in writing. So it depends on how much you probe, but it's in there.
That's what I'm talking about indeed. Depends on how much you probe indeed. That's right, folks. So put on your alien head costumes and start probing, y'all. That's right indeed.
I can say that's definitely a first for podcast interviewing, alien probing. But thanks for that, Dom. The truth is out there, as they would say on the X-Files.
Yeah, that's right indeed. That's right indeed. Hashtag relationship advice X-Files. Let me stop. But
Yeah.
we're coming down to some magical question that every guest gets to receive, and that is if you wake up tomorrow and you're 25 again, but you're still in 2022 with all of your knowledge and experience. What advice would you give to yourself?
If I was giving advice to my 22-year-old self, it would be think big, be bold, and just do it. And that was it. I waited too long for permission. I waited too long or longer than I needed to, get my ducks in a row and check boxes. So be bold, go big, and just do it.
Woohoo! That's what I'm talking about indeed. Be bold, y'all. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. Be bold indeed. Just do it, y'all. That's right indeed. You don't even need Nikes. You just need Morag's books, y'all. That's right. That's right indeed. Be bold. Go forward indeed. Don't be sitting on the gifts that you got, y'all. That's right indeed. Because, hey, what's a Christmas gift without unwrapping it, you know?
Indeed.
Ah, yeah, that's right. And speaking of gifts, folks need to unlock the wonderful gifts by checking out with all of your wonderful wares on your website and all the goodies. So for folks who need to keep up with your journey, what's the best way for folks to do so, Morag?
Well, as I say, the unique URL so your listeners can take the Ally Mindset profile is skyeteam, S-K-Y-E, team.cloud/going north. And then to find out me, connect with me on LinkedIn or find me at skyeteam.com, and that's S-K-Y-E team.com.
Ah, yeah, that's right indeed. No wonder I was asking about those E's earlier. It's in sky, so you can't spell sky without enchanting. Oh, that's right indeed. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. So there you have it, folks. Click that special link. Indeed, it'll take you to a wonderful, magical place full of great extra content from the mighty Morag and her marvelous team, baby. That's right indeed. You might even get a pillow cloud afterwards. You never know. You never know.
You might indeed. No guarantees, though.
That's right. It's like a past guest, Fred Joy. It's like, hey, you got to show me you bought the book before you ask for the free margarita that comes with buying the book. Oh, God. But it ain't about margaritas. But before I go down any other rabbit holes, any parting words before we close up shop, Morag?
My parting words will be those words of wisdom that if you want to be successful in business or in life, you have to be successful in cultivating your professional and personal relationships. And this isn't a nice to do, it's a need to do. We are all ultimately better together.
Thanks a bunch for tuning in and setting aside some of your time to listen to this wonderful podcast, Going North. If you really enjoyed what you heard, do me a solid and share this with your network and someone that you care about that would get something out of it too. And be sure to subscribe to hear more, and heck, even check out the backlog if you would like, because there are hundreds of episodes to choose from, and they just keep getting better and not butter.